So the big question is this: how do passionate golfers like you and I develop a stock shot day in and day out? A stock shot that's as reliable as the sun coming up in the morning. That's the question, and this podcast is the answer. Welcome to Stock Shot Secrets. So this will definitely apply to you. Why is it, you would say, Kyle, that when I take a practice swing, it might look great, but then I may put a ball there and suddenly it changes? Or why is it that I hit it when I drop the second ball, the second guy always beats the first guy? That's the question that we want to try to answer today. So the question of first talking about and they kind of go hand in hand, of why is the practice swing different than the real swing, and all that changed is a ball? Well, let's think about it. What is it that's actually different between the two of them? And it's very easy. The fact is that the difference between the practice swing and the real swing is that the real swing now has a consequence to it, and therefore it matters, okay? So that's what we would establish, that now I'm actually hitting a ball, and it's going to go somewhere, and I hope it doesn't go into a hazard, right? So now if we take it another step farther, why is it that then changes something? Well, I'd come back to you, I'd go, well, what does it actually change? And you would say you don't know. And I would say it changes you. So you change because now you have a consequence that's attached to it. And when you change, what happens is you have more tension that is residing in your body. It might be in your shoulders. It might be in your hands. It might be in your arms, whatever it may be. And because you have more tension, your swing looks worse, right? Because tension destroys a golf swing. Right? It's what makes us steep. What makes us not have lag. It makes us not compress a golf ball. And what happens is now with the tension, you start spinning. You might pull it, or you pull the handle, and it's a little bit more over the top, and therefore it looks different and performs different on the golf ball. Whereas with the practice swing, there is no consequence because it doesn't matter because there's no result attached to it. So, and that would have the same effect on why the second player always beats the first player, because the second player, one, is that you are you've already kind of had a practice, right? So you're kind of making the micro adjustment that you need. But two, there's not a consequence attached to it, right? And I think that kind of going off of that, there's also something I want to add to this, is that, which is completely kind of somewhat off topic, but also I think something that also gets overlooked, especially for the tournament player, is that when you hit a bad shot in a round of golf, right? And I see this all the time with college golfers and amateur golfers and junior players and so on and so forth. If I hit a ball, and let's just say it might be right, or, and it's kind of like, I think that might be OB or whatever, or like into a hazard or whatever it may be, you always should try to hit a second ball as the provisional. And you go, why? And you go, well, one, it's good for time. Like, you're going to save time from having to come back to the tee. But probably even more importantly is it allows you to get that feeling out of your system so that you basically get it's like a free practice in the middle of a round, right? And the third reason is that if you can see, let's just say I hit a ball to the right, and it's kind of like maybe in a hazard, and then I hit one down the center of the fairway on the second ball. If I find the second ball in the center of the fairway, it gives me an idea of where to look for my golf ball so that I can find it easier, right? So I never understand why players don't take a provisional ball when they absolutely should, because it's basically a free practice in the round. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Stock Shot Secrets podcast. If you are enjoying it, be sure to like this episode. Be sure to subscribe so you can always see when they're coming out. And most importantly, if you would be so kind to be able to share this podcast with other passionate golfers who are trying to get better and build stock shots, because it grows through you sharing it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now back to Stock Shot Secrets. And finally, the other thing too is that when you're trying to make these swings, right, and you're doing a practice swing, and then you're doing a real swing, the one thing I want to continue to remind you is what's called myelin is the thicker one in your brain, that one will always win. So what I mean by that is that in your brain, you have these circuits, right? And the circuits are surrounded with this coating called myelin. That's like the muscle memory. It's the literal memory. Now, it's not muscle. It's like a fatty tissue, right? But the tissue and the cells hold memory. So whatever circuit in your brain has more myelin that's wrapped around it, that circuit will always win, meaning that motor pattern will always win. So what I mean, how does that apply? Well, if you go to the range and practice, and you're practicing something that is not perfect, that's just wrapping that circuit with myelin that you then are just making that myelin thicker than the one that you would actually desire, right? Which is why I am such a stickler to saying if you're going to practice, then actually practice. Use feedback. Make sure that the swing that you are doing is the proper swing, because then it is storing the proper myelin, so that when you go out onto the golf course and you finally now make a practice swing and you go, that one's good, and then you step up to the ball and now you don't have a fear of failure and you're just trusting your training, that myelin, that swing, that muscle memory is the one that actually comes out rather than the poor one, right? So that's why there's a literal science to how we are actually practicing and playing. So just as like a little secondary note. But the long and short is, why is your practice swing different than your real swing? And why is the second player always beat the first player? It's because you change. And what you change is you change your tension levels, and therefore your tension levels destroy your golf swing. So that's where you have to feel super relaxed, feel like maybe like your shoulders are super soft, maybe your jaw is really loose. And then that allows you to play to your utmost ability and have those swings match one another. Okay? So hopefully that helps. And if you do need any advice on what you need to do with your swing, you can always, send us a video and go, look at my practice swing, and I'm going to hit a real one. And then you do it, and then we're like, oh, look at the differences, right? So, and then we can tell you exactly how to practice it so that you can create your practice stations and store that proper myelin. All right? So thank you so much, and we'll see you back here for another episode. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the latest episode of Stock Shot Secrets. Now, as a listener of Stock Shot Secrets, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get better. So if you were to go to stockshotclub.com, I'm going to give you 7 days free access where you can send us your video and we will give you personalized individual attention as to what you need to do so that you can start building stock shots. So just go to stockshotclub.com and register there. We'll give you 7 days free where you can try it. And then if we like it, you can stay inside the Stock Shot Club where we can become your coach and walk with you for your entire journey. Thank you so much. And be sure to go visit stockshotclub.com.